Let's talk a moment about the airport traffic pattern and welcome into Private Pilot Lesson 3.3. We're going to spend a lot of time in the traffic pattern, and this is why it's so important that we learn the legs of our traffic pattern. So here I have our beautiful runway with a windsock. We're going to do an entire lesson on windsocks, but let's plant the seed now. And I'll give you this to hold on to. The windsock points to the runway I want to use. For example, the windsock is pointing to runway 9. We land into the wind. And the windsock points to the runway I want to use. Remember that. Again, we're going to have there's a lot more to windsocks. As silly as it sounds, they get an entire lesson devoted to them. But let's plant the seed just with that, and let's talk about the traffic pattern now. So we're going to be departing runway 9. We're not going to talk about radio communications yet. That's coming. But we're going to talk about the legs of our traffic pattern right now. As soon as I depart runway 9, as soon as I take off, as soon as my wheels leave the ground, I'm on what's called the upwind. I'm upwind runway 9. The next leg in my traffic pattern is to the left. Left traffic is the standard traffic pattern. If someone ever tells you the traffic pattern is standard, they mean left turns. Left turns is what you're going to make. A non-standard traffic pattern is right traffic, making right turns. We're going to say this is standard, so we're going to turn to the left, and that turn to the left is called crosswind. In this case, it's a left crosswind because we're making that left-hand turn. We're turning left crosswind. In the traffic pattern, we're just flying. Basically, you'll see a giant rectangle all the way back around to our runway. We just turn left crosswind. We're going to make another left turn, and this left turn's a long one as we go to parallel that runway, and this is called our downwind. Makes sense because we are downwind, basically. We have a tailwind. Look at that windsock. It would be pushing us down. We are downwind. We're going to fly that a little bit past our runway to make our beautiful rectangle all symmetrical and looking beautiful till we make our next turn, which doesn't have a fancy name with wind in or anything like that. It's simply called base. In this case, it's a left base. We have left crosswind, left downwind, left base. If we were doing right traffic, it'd be the same: right crosswind, right downwind, right base. And then when we're ready, we turn towards the runway and we turn final. Now, let me debunk everything we just talked about. We said there's a left crosswind, a left downwind, a left base. There is no such thing as a left final, because you're heading right towards the runway. If you're on a left final, well, you need to correct because you're left of the runway. You know what I'm saying? There is a left crosswind, there is a left downwind, there is a left base. There is no such thing as a left final. You're always just turning final, is what it is. Take a screenshot of this. Draw this in your notebook or in your syllabus, in your notes, whatever you have to do, and quiz yourself on it. I find myself, once you learn, coming up, I believe it's 3.6, the radio communications, I chair fly this sort of stuff, walking around my living room, turning crosswind, turning downwind, making those radio calls to myself. We'll talk about that here in just a bit. This is the airport traffic pattern. You are going to make this lap that we just did, I guarantee, 60 to 100 times before you become a private pilot. You're going to do this a lot. So let's get familiar with it, and I'll see you guys in the next lesson.